The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our, what day is today? Tuesday webinar, Common Benefit Problems number 2. An exciting day today because it is Tuesday, it's 10 o'clock, and we get to talk about benefits. Lots of people on the call today, so we'd like to welcome everybody that's participating. Excuse me. And welcome to the Benefits Trust. We are a full-service third-party benefit administration company. We were established on January 1st, 1994, so been around close to 25 years. We provide budgeted ASO solutions to all of our end-user clients, and we sell direct through brokers like yourself. So close to 50 brokers on the call today, so we would like to take this opportunity to say thank you very much for attending. The Benefits Trust, as I mentioned, I've been working for close to 25 years with brokers like you on selling budgeted ASO solutions. We're here to talk about common benefit problems, and this webinar came out of a series of questions that we asked many of you, and many of you participated in those in the questions that we asked with responses. And what we have done is we developed a 3-part webinar series on common benefit problems. So we asked you what the most common problems that your clients face, and we got all those answers. We put them all together, and we came up with the 9 most important questions that you wanted answered, and we put together a 3-part webinar series. Today, we're talking about common benefit problems number 2, and we'll go into the detailed agenda in a moment. At the end of the session today, you will be receiving a CE certificate from Mike Ignatz. He will be sending this to you. I believe he'll be sending this to you, and it comes automatically out of our system, which is terrific. So we'd like to welcome you to give us a call if you don't receive this over the next 2 weeks or so. In addition to that, you will be receiving a very short survey. Fill it out. It's a couple of questions. We want to do this better tomorrow than we did it today. In addition to that, on that survey, you also have a very small spot that says, hey, we'd like to see this covered in future webinars, so send us your ideas, and we'd be happy to take them into consideration because we're just in the process of starting to develop a new webinar series for 2018. In addition to this, if you'd like us to come out to your office, if you've got 8 or 10 or more people in your office, we can do a lunch and learn presentation. We'll throw some pizzas on the table, as well as cover a topic of your choice with respect to benefits, and we can give you CE credits for participating in that type of service. So if you'd like us to do that, we'd be more than happy to. Again, the Benefits Trust works directly with brokers like yourself, and we'd like to thank you for taking an hour out of your time to spend with us. We're here, as I mentioned, to talk about common benefit plan problems, more specifically common benefit problems number 2. My name is Robert Crowder, and it's my pleasure to be your main presenter today. I'm the guy on the right-hand side of the picture, and I'm the founder and the president of the Benefits Trust. Mike Ignatz on the left-hand side, and you might hear Mike chiming in from time to time. He's our moderator today.
Good morning, everybody.
Now, Mike doesn't look quite like he does right now because he's sporting the Movember mustache. So it's kind of 7 days in right now, and he's got the cheesy Movember mustache going. So it's pretty funny. If you hear me giggling throughout the presentation, it's because I got a glimpse of Mike and I wasn't concentrating. Anyways, if you have any questions throughout the day, and this is really what I was going to, or throughout this presentation, pardon me, just feel free to type them in or keyboard them in the question box on your screen, and Mike will either answer them or we'll be answering them throughout the rest of the session today. Or in addition to that, if we can't, we'll answer it offline following today's presentation. So again, on behalf of all of us here at the Benefits Trust, we'd like to extend a very warm and exciting welcome to you all, and look forward to a very prosperous hour. We are going to be done by 11 o'clock sharp, if not sooner. So we're well aware of the time and well aware of your time, and we value your time as well. Really, the philosophy behind these webinars isn't about a commercial about the Benefits Trust. I got to be honest with you, we're going to throw a little something in there, but really it's about helping others succeed. It's about helping you sell more group insurance. And if you can gain on some of the experiences that we've had, that's terrific. And if you can share some of the experiences that you've had, that's even more terrific. But it's really all about helping others succeed. And that's what we're here to talk about today. It's about really helping others succeed, and others might be you. If you can pick up a good idea on today's session, then that's time well spent. So our agenda today is how do we make the 3 most important things that came up in today's session, is how do we make cases sticky and difficult to replace? It's interesting, when I do go out to see end user clients with brokers, or where brokers have asked me to go out, And it's interesting because I talk to more and more business owners and they say, what is going on in your business? We get calls and emails and letters every single day, it seems like. So when you've got all these people trying to attack your business, how do you make the case is sticky and difficult to replace? One thing we're going to talk about today. And why everybody this is the same but different. It's interesting. I've been a licensed life insurance agent for close to 30 years now. And in the grand scheme of things, in 30 years, the only thing that's changed in group insurance, and I know people are going to argue about this and say that's not true, but the only thing that's changed in group insurance is, first of all, there are fewer suppliers out there, number one. And number two, the only thing that's really changed is the prices. There's still that same historical plan design around with a couple of tweaks where you've got, a life insurance benefit, you've got an AD&D benefit, you got a long-term disability benefit, and you got health and dental. But that's it. There's not a lot that's changed. The prices have certainly changed, but not really a lot. Not really a lot. So why everybody is the same but different? And we've got some ways to talk about that and some case studies that we're going to talk about. The other one, and the third topic today, is how to harness the power of executive benefits. And it's interesting. Some of the brokers that we work with and have for many years, when they really harness the power of executive benefits, they get a great deal of traction. And we want to share a case study with you in this area as well. So we're going to talk about how to make cases more sticky and difficult to replace, why everybody is the same but different, and how to harness the power of executive benefits. Before we begin, like I start off just about every webinar or every presentation, is what is an employee benefits plan? An employee benefits plan is nothing more than a promise between a group of employees, an employer and a group of employees. Pardon me, an employer. I just got a glimpse of Mike's mustache there, made me giggle and lost concentration. Anyways, a benefit plan is a promise between an employer and a group of employees. An employer and a group of employees. It's as simple as that. And when we look at that and we use that language, and this language came from a conversation I was having about 8 or 10 years ago with an end user client, one of your clients, and a broker, and the meeting really wasn't going well. And I could tell that this business owner wasn't really understanding where we were sort of coming from in the discussion. And it was becoming very frustrating to him because he was wasting his time, or he felt like he was wasting his time. And it was frustrating to us because we don't want to see frustrated clients, and we wanted to get our point across. And I said, whoa, hold on a second, stop. I'm talking with this guy, this dynamic guy. He's got 10 or 12 employees, but standing behind him. I'm talking to a gentleman like this, and I said, hold on a second, stop for a moment. What is an employee benefit program? What is it? And he goes, well, it's what we're talking about. It's the life insurance and the AD&D insurance and the health insurance and the drug card and the stuff that goes up every year in price. The more you use it, the more you get it. I don't understand the math. And you could see the frustration. And I said, no. A benefit plan is a promise between an employer and a group of employees. All of a sudden, the light went off in his head when I used that word promise. One thing that business owners understand is promising people things, promising clients that they're going to deliver certain things for a value, promising their employees they're going to deliver certain things, promising a certain level of profit to either themselves or to other shareholders. So all of a sudden, the light went off when the issue of having to have a benefit plan switched to control, where the business owner is sitting there going, hey, I've got more control. And it was really fascinating because at that moment onwards, I had this epiphany because I really truly saw his body language change, and the conversation moved in a completely different direction, and it turned out to be a very successful meeting, and we got the client. And we've had the client since that point in time. But it reminds me of, I don't know if any of you are Calvin and Hobbes fans, or pardon me, more specifically, were Calvin and Hobbes fans. They were, this was a comic strip in a newspaper, many newspapers, well syndicated newspapers, right across Canada and North America, or Canada and the U.S. And it was a great story about a boy and his imaginary stuffed animal. And this is interesting, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a moment, but this was the very last Calvin and Hobbes comic that existed in the series. And this is the very last one. And I think it's so poignant when we're talking about benefits. And let's go through it. And he says, I'm just waiting for it to focus in here. It says, wow, it really snowed last night. Isn't it wonderful? So you can see the two of them walking through the snow. And then it says, Oh, geez, it's really lagging today. Everything familiar has disappeared. It's a brand, the world looks brand new. It's a new year, clean and fresh start. And this is where it really struck home with me as we're just waiting. It's like having a big white sheet of paper to draw on, a day full of possibilities. Let me look at the last caption here, or the second last caption, and it says, "It's a magical world, Hobbs, old buddy. Let's go exploring." And it was interesting because I remember this comic, and I remember it being such a great end to a comic strip that I enjoyed for many years. And it also made me think when I was talking to that one business owner, and all of a sudden I used the word promise, that a benefit plan is nothing more than a promise between an employer and an employee or a group of employees. And when I said that to this particular individual and his body changed, all of a sudden I was thinking about that Calvin and Hobbes comic and this blank sheet of paper. You've got this blank sheet of paper, and we're saying to the business owner, and you're saying to the business owner, forget about what you've got. Let's talk about the future and let's go exploring. It's a brand new world out there. Let's go exploring. So today I want to talk about employee benefits, and I want to talk about the three subjects that we were talking about, making things sticky and executive benefits and so on. But I want to talk about it in a specific market context. We want to talk about sort of the lower end of the marketplace, and I hate to say lower end of the marketplace, smaller end of the marketplace, 3 lives to 103 lives. Companies, successful businesses with 3 to 103 employees. We've got a solution for the smaller businesses, the one and two person entrepreneurial businesses. But today we're really focusing on that sort of that 3 to 103 size in our comments today. And really, when we look at those businesses and we look at successful businesses, and it's interesting because I know an awful lot of businesses that have 3 and 4 and 5 employees, and they're very, very successful. They make huge profits, and they do this by providing great value to their clients, and they've really figured out a way to polish their respective widgets. So business, in my opinion, is all about value. It's about profit, and it's about success, and it's about not necessarily a short-term outlook, but a long-term outlook. So that's really what we want to focus on today is talking about success in value propositions and profitable businesses that are experiencing this success. As I like to say, there's 2 types of businesses that you want to talk to with respect to businesses, or 2 types of businesses you want to talk to with respect to employee benefits. Successful businesses are the ones you want to talk to, and then unsuccessful businesses truly are other people's prospects. So really, when we talk about benefits, it's interesting. There's the value proposition, which I think is first and foremost, and that's on top. And then there's the benefit, and then the price is also important. But the value proposition, when you deal with a successful business owner, really is the number one priority. So let's get into it. We've got roughly 45 minutes, 50 minutes left. Common benefit problems number 2. How do we make cases sticky and difficult to replace? So how do we make cases sticky and difficult to replace? Well, the answer is quite simple. Don't sell a commodity. A commodity is price sensitive. And as I was talking earlier in this presentation, benefit plans really haven't changed a lot in the last number of years. In the last 30 years, they've, life insurance, AD&D insurance, long-term disability insurance, terrific. We've got an extended healthcare plan and a dental care plan. And, the big change is, are we going to change from 80% reimbursement to 90% reimbursement or 90% reimbursement down to 80% reimbursement? This stuff's a commodity. It's price sensitive. You're always going to find an insurance company that's going to show you a cheaper way to buy this product. And over time, the costs keep on going up and up and up. And this is boring, vanilla, ugly. Next, don't sell a commodity. Don't sell a commodity. What we say is sell a customized benefit solution. It's not as price sensitive as a commodity. Sell them a customized benefit plan. It's interesting. Last night, I just got a bunch of shirts delivered to me from a tailor that I've been working or using for many, many years. And this particular tailor, doesn't necessarily hand make, but made to measure shirts, and they fit perfectly. Yeah, they cost a little bit more than a regular shirt, but it's made for me. It's a customized solution for me. And as a result of it, it's not as price sensitive as just buying a shirt off the rack. So sell a customized benefit solution. It's all about value. It's about the value that you're bringing to the client. And how do you sell a customized benefit solution? Well, it's quite straightforward. It's just about asking future-based questions. And we talk about we talk about a customized solution versus a commodity. And it was interesting. We did a renovation recently on our kitchen, and you can look at this. Oh my gosh, what's it even called? Countertop. And you can go into a place like Home Depot or Rona, and you can buy countertop, and there's 100 different samples of the type of finish that you want on a countertop. And they sell it by the linear foot. And you can just decide on the nose that you want to have, or the backsplash you want to have, or whether you want anything along those lines. You can choose whatever you want. You can choose 2 or 3 or 4 different options on the finishing, and you buy it by the linear foot. And you choose the finish that you want on it, and it's really a commodity. The price is the same in Rona as it is in Home Depot, as it is in other stores. And the stuff is built the same, probably by the same manufacturer, and selling to 3 different suppliers. And this stuff is a commodity. The only decision you're making besides the finish you want is really how many linear feet of this particular product you want. Great. So all of a sudden they're fighting, the Ronas and the Home Depots of the world are fighting for who has the cheapest solution. Who has the cheapest solution? Yeah, they say they each have the same 100 number of finishes, and they each have the same choices on whether you want the backsplash or not, or whether you want the decorative nose on it. But that's it. They're fighting for the cheapest solution. Do you want to be in that game? Versus a renovation that we did on our kitchen. This is not our kitchen, but this is one that's somewhat similar. We chose a particular granite or quartz. I don't even know what it is, actually. Granite or quartz. I'd have to ask my wife that, because I was not involved in the decision. But it's a granite or quartz lower countertop and a live edge finish upper countertop. And that's something similar we did in the kitchen renovation that we recently completed. But this live edge, and it happens to be at our cottage, and it's the focal point when you walk inside of our cottage, because it's a gathering point. Kitchens are gathering point, and cottages often are very social places. And this, everybody walks in to our cottage and they stand up in the kitchen and they go, "Wow, is this ever a neat countertop?" It's a focal point. It's something custom. It's a customized approach. Yeah, it costs a little bit more than the linear feet that the Home Depot's was selecting or offering, but this is that customized solution. Customized solutions and the value added that we purchased. And it just turned out super well, and we're very, very happy with it. So when we're talking about benefits, we're saying sell a customized solution as opposed to just a commodity. We've done this in a number of different ways, but I wanted to share with you a case study. So in this particular client, we've had them for many years, but the research that we did in advance of going into this particular meeting with the end user client, or the end user client and the broker, is that we found out they have approximately 60 employees. And they're in the processing, logistics, and sales business. One thing we learned is there are 2 generations that are active in the business, and this was very clear on their website. There were 2 generations are very active, very, very proud people. Excuse me. And in addition to that, the founder is still active. He's 75 plus years old, and he's still active every day. He's still active every single day in his business. So this is what the research is. This is the information we had going into the meeting. And we asked them a couple of questions, but their objective was very clear. They had a vanilla plan, and they shopped it every 3 years for the cheapest price they could get. And it was interesting because this is what their broker told them. This is what their broker had sold them. Really not any value. It was just a vanilla plan, and they shop it every 3 years for the cheapest price. And in this particular situation, they were checking the broker because the broker was getting a little bit complacent. So the other broker was invited into the meeting, and we were asked to accompany that other broker. And we went in and said, "Hello, what's going on here?" And this is what we found out. Great. So all of a sudden we said, hold on a second, let's ask some questions. Let's ask some future-based questions. Don't care about the past. Let's ask some future-based questions. And, oh, by the way, a sidebar, if you go to our website, thebenefitstrust.com, and you go on to the Advisor Resource Center, in that is under what section, Mike? The 101 questions. You go to the Advisor Resource. Tools. You go to the Advisor Resource Center, and then you go to Tools. We've got 101 great future-based questions that you can ask your prospects and clients. So we go to the questions. We start asking the questions, and one of the things that we found out about is I was speaking with one of the second generation owners in this particular meeting, and they were very much focused on growth. The second generation had wet their wheels or wet their lips, so to speak, and they've learned the business quite a bit. And they were very much focused on growth. They were growing it for the next generation. As well as that, they were talking about their diverse employee skill set. They were talking about the wide range of salaries in their organization because they've got this diverse employee skill set. You've got things from jobs from drivers to accountants to professional salespeople to packagers to pickers, etc. So they had this wide skill set, this wide range of salaries, but most importantly, that was really important for them, is they had long service employees. This was a very proud company and a very proud family, and they really, really took care of their employees, and as a result of that, they had long service employees. So one of the things that was important to them when we asked those future-based questions is they wanted to be able to offer choice. They wanted to be able to offer some type of choice in employee benefits for their company. They realized that they were too small for a full course flex plan, if you would, but they wanted to be able to offer some choice. So it was interesting. All of a sudden, it went from them looking for a vanilla plan by asking a number of future-based questions to a different approach. And it was interesting what was put into place and what we suggested and what we came back with was redesigning their benefit plan and putting in a 100% executive plan for the key people, for the family and the key people, and 100% no co-insurances, no deductibles, no limits. It was just a 100% plan for the family and the key people because it's just a tax-effective way for the employer to pay for things that the employee is going to use. So in this case, the executive employees and a couple of key people. Then we also put in a traditional plan design. In this case, we called it a bronze plan, and it was their traditional plan, their vanilla plan, but we reduced the reimbursement level from what it was to a 60% reimbursement level, and we had this fully funded by the employer. The employer liked this because they offered some type of benefit plan to their employees. In this particular organization, many of the families came from two-family incomes, but regardless of their decision, the employer was able to offer some type of an employee benefit program that had some catastrophic insurance in place. So at least they're covered for certain things, regardless of what their decision was. Then what we did is we implemented a silver plan and a gold plan with an 80% reimbursement for the silver plan and a 100% reimbursement for the gold plan. And the top-ups were available at the employee's cost. So all of a sudden, we didn't put in necessarily a flex plan, but we gave that traditional plan design for everybody in the organization. And then if they wanted to pop up or top up their benefit plan, they could at their cost, if you would. So the solution that was put in place was kind of interesting because it was very tax effective for the family group, and it was also it provided a great deal of retention for those key employees. The specialty out-of-country coverage we put in place was for the active owner, was important because it was priced separately because he was 75 plus years old. So we put in some specialty out-of-country emergency travel coverage because the owner is still very active in the business, but also travels quite a bit. We empowered the employees to make purchasing decisions annually based on their benefit needs, and most importantly, the employer's benefits budget is maintained. So all of a sudden, we went from selling, a vanilla plan to a customized solution. So there goes that vanilla plan out the door that, if all you're doing is buying a vanilla ice cream cone, which historically they were looking for the cheapest vanilla ice cream cone they can. And all of a sudden, we asked a series of future-based questions, and we were then selling one of Canada's favorite desserts, a homemade butter tart, that they paid not considerably more, but they certainly paid a little bit more for than that vanilla plan. So it was interesting because every year we've gone in there since to talk about the renewal and so on. And I always enjoy going in and seeing this particular client. We've sold them that dessert. We've sold them that custom-made dessert for them. And after many, many years, they still love it, and it still works for them. And we still ask future-based checking questions. And every once in a while, they get people knocking at their door, and they just say, "No, thank you. We're well taken care of. We've got the dessert that we want, and we're paying appropriately for it." So, how to make things sticky? You know what? Sell them a customized benefit solution. Next point: why everyone is the same but different. I've walked into many organizations where they say, "Hey, we have to have the same benefit coverage." So we start asking questions and future-based questions about corporate philosophies. And every company has a corporate philosophy, whether that corporate philosophy is written down or whether that corporate philosophy is just notional, if you would, depending on the type of company and the size of the company. But there certainly is a corporate philosophy. So when we start talking about, what are you promising your employees, and specifically, are there different groups within your group, which is a great future-based question and a great question. What are the groups within your group? A lot of times, or not a lot of times, but many times, we will certainly get a corporate philosophy that is clear that everybody is the same, even though everybody's different when it comes to benefits, or the same compensation philosophy, that we're all in it for all. So, you've got to look at creative plan design ideas from the first topic that we talked about is don't sell a commodity, sell something value-based, sell a creative plan design, sell a customized benefit solution. So you got to take this into account when we're talking about corporate philosophy. And when you're asking future-based questions about people's corporate philosophies or businesses' corporate philosophies, and especially because smaller organizations may not have thought about this too much, you may be looking at a corporate philosophy from a professionalism standpoint, a service standpoint, a quality standpoint, an efficiency standpoint. What is the business's corporate philosophy? This is, I think, important because you might have the corporate philosophy that we provide the most quality service, we have the most professional staff, we are the most efficient, and we deliver the best service, but we charge a ton of money for it to make a great big deal of profit. And you got that type of organization, yet they have the crappiest benefit plan that's available. It doesn't mix. There's something wrong there. There's a disconnect. So if you can truly understand what the corporation's corporate philosophy is, by asking these great future-based questions, you can help them design a customized benefit solution that fits within that corporate philosophy. So let's talk about a particular case study. Research told us in this particular company that there were about 70 employees. They're in the sales industry. They've got very much empowerment philosophy, an empowerment philosophy. It's a very dynamic and cool environment. They've got music playing, and we're not talking about music that plays in the background. These guys have music playing. They've got foosball tables. They're just a cool organization. They've got a fully stocked kitchen. They often have a chef that comes in and does lunch for everybody. Health is a big important component of this particular organization. And they've got this cool environment, but everybody has to have the same benefits. That's just what they believe in. They started off very thin and very, it was all about profit for them. And it was all about empowering people. It was all about creating this cool environment so everybody would look forward to coming to work. And they believe that they have everybody's got to have the same benefits. So in this particular company, we were in to see them again with an end user, with a broker. We were in to see this particular company, and it was a fun meeting. It was a great meeting. I got really excited about being in this organization because I was asking them all these great questions about what they're doing and how they're doing it. And they were showing me around, their office, and they were very proud of it. And we were in the kitchen, and they were showing me how their kitchen is fully stocked and so on. And then we got down to their objective, and their objective was to buy the cheap benefit plan because everybody has to have the same. So let's make sure it's as cheap as it can be. So all of a sudden, they were excited about their business and their future, and then they weren't that excited about their employee benefit plan. It's got to be the same. So let's just buy this the cheapest way we possibly can. And it's like this comic that I saw. "Oh, Biscuit, do you like the new toy I got you?" "Yeah, so not impressed." Cats are very finicky people, and all of a sudden they're looking for the cheapest plan that they can buy, and all the employees are going, "Yeah, really not that impressed with this particular solution that's in place." So we started asking more future-based questions, and we were talking about benefits, and we really wanted to get these guys as a client, and because we want to get everybody as a client, and but we wanted to get these guys as a client as well, and we were asking great future-based questions, and they were answering them. And one of the things that we found out is 75% of the employees are paid a very small base pay plus commission. So a large percentage, three-quarters of the employees in this particular organization, kill what they eat, more or less. They've got a very small base pay, and then they're paid commissions. Earnings in the group vary widely. So they've got 75% of the employees that are essentially all the same because they're paid commissions. They've got a very small base pay plus commissions. Then you got these earnings that vary widely within the group. And it's interesting, we've got some employees in this organization, and all they are is just regular mainline employees that are making $800,000, $900,000, over $1 million a year because of the commissions they're making. And you've got other people that are making considerably less than that. So you've got this varying widely group within this particular group, and then you've got a very, very small executive group. So their philosophy was, hey, everybody's the same. We're all paid commissions here. We've got a couple of support folks that aren't paid commissions, but 75% of the employees are paid commissions. But the other folks are very much well aware of the environment that they're in. So asking these questions and having a discussion with these folks about it, we came back with an approach that was a little bit different. And again, asking a whole bunch of questions, and we're just summarizing the questions and the tone of the answers that we got. But we came back and said, geez, what about looking at your benefit plan a little bit differently? You got this dynamic, cool environment, and let's offer $75,000 with a critical illness insurance. Because if everybody was in one location, and everybody knew everybody's business to a certain extent, they were pretty tight group. They had a lot of social events in their organization. So we said, hey, if somebody comes down with a critical illness, let's give you, the company, the ability to deliver a meaningful check, in this case, $75,000. We also knew that one of the executives had been declined for individual critical illness insurance. So we knew this would be meaningful for him. So we put in $75,000, or we suggested that they implement $75,000 of the critical illness insurance. We eliminated the group life policy because it was meaningless in their opinion. And we put in $250,000 of accidental death and dismemberment. So we put in this flat $75,000 of CI, $250,000 of AD&D insurance. And we had that on a more or less a standalone basis because there was no matching life insurance amount. So we just put in that $250,000. And again, the idea was, if somebody should die as a result of an accident, it's going to be tragic, and it's going to be, altering for the families that are involved. And these individuals, because they had just a lot of disposable income, because many of them were doing very well, they were taking trips, they were traveling, they were doing all sorts of different stuff. They were very active. They're, skiing and snowboarding and mountain biking and doing all these wonderful stuff. So their chances were slightly increased of dying as a result of an accident. So all of a sudden it's hey, let's put a meaningful number in there. Out of country, of course, is important. Stop loss for large in Canada claims. We asked them what was important to them, and the most important thing to them in their existing vanilla plan was a drug plan. So they'd like to have that drug card, so we put in a 90% drug plan. No other ancillary benefits, no other paramedical coverages or massage therapies, etc. Took all those out. And then what we did is we took the dental out and then put in a healthcare spending account, and the healthcare spending account was equal to 2.5% of the previous year's total earnings. So all of a sudden, we came back with a pretty radical plan redesign, if you would, and it made it look about as far away from a traditional plan as one could come. Put in that critical illness, the AD&D, the out-of-country stop loss, the drug plan, and then the 2.5% of previous year's earnings. The solution that they took was this. They were very, very excited about it. The custom plan fits with the corporate philosophy, which was most important. So that custom plan that was all of a sudden put in place really, just met with their corporate philosophy. That made a great deal of sense to them. All of a sudden, you could see the smile on their face. They were excited not only about their business and about the things that they had of that business and where their future was going, but they were excited about their benefit plan all of a sudden. All employees, including the executives, have the same benefits, but different. They can stand up and say, hey, we have the same benefits as everybody else, but yes, we have different amounts going into our healthcare spending accounts than you do because of the compensation that we're earning. The pooled benefits match that company philosophy, that empowerment philosophy. It would also match that coolness where they've got $75,000 of critical illness insurance and they've got a meaningful amount of AD&D insurance. And they got that also important out-of-country emergency travel coverage. As well as that, there's a 1-year waiting period for the healthcare spending account, which encourages employee commitment. So you work there for a period of time, and then all of a sudden you're making a decision based on the future and the amount that goes into your healthcare spending accounts based on your commitment to the company and more specifically the earnings. So the more you earn, the more you get. Simple as that. And it just met with their philosophy all the way through. So an exciting client, easy sale. We didn't even talk about price. Easy sale. The cost of the insurance is the cost of the insurance. Got it. The cost of the other benefits or the cost of the other benefits, the healthcare spending account is based on their earnings and they were happy to pay it. The more people earn, the more they put in. Guess what? The client in this particular case had the same, but different coverage. And the broker got a new client, and the broker has kept this client for many, many years as a result of taking this unique and customized approach. Never talked very, very little about price, but talked about value and the value creation. And by doing that, we were asking future-based questions by doing this. This is another one is how to harness the power of executive benefits. And this is the third of our agenda items today. It's how to harness the power of executive benefits. And it's interesting, the brokers that we're working with that have really understand executive benefits, and there's not much to understand, but they really understand executive benefits, but they're very eloquent in the way they present them to their clients, have gained a great deal of traction. Once the client drinks the Kool-Aid, they never go back. And it's kind of interesting, and the way that I believe to harness the power of executive benefits is sell them and sell them first. Sell the executive benefits first. Don't, throw it in as an add-in, sell it first. It's quite simple. And, it was interesting. In the last month or so, I watched this movie, with Gordon Gekko, where he makes this great speech about greed is good. And he's talking to a group of shareholders and why they should let him take over the particular company and sell off the parts of it. And he was saying, greed is good. And I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. It wasn't
Wall Street.
Was it Wall Street? Was it the original Wall Street?
Yeah,
I think it was the original Wall Street. And Gordon Gekko, Michael Douglas, obviously, terrific acting, but just greed is good. Business owners entrepreneurs are doing this in a lot because they want control over their organization, but they also want to be able to take care of themselves and their families. So when we look at benefits, we're looking at it from not necessarily, I get better benefits than somebody else. It's more from a tax-related approach. And, successful business owners pay out a great deal of money in tax, and you're showing them a way through executive benefits to pay for things they're going to buy anyway, but just in a considerably more tax-effective manner as a tax-deductible expense to their business, and the benefits are received tax-free. So, the real simple approach is when you're talking to a business owner is, it's a very simple question. It's a great way to get in the door. It's a great way to talk to somebody at a cocktail party. It's a great way to talk to somebody in a hockey arena or on a chairlift or wherever you hang out is, if I could show you a way to pay for things that you're going to buy anyway with more tax-effective dollars, would that be of interest to you? Simple as that. And the business owner is going to go, well, you know what, it really doesn't matter because I don't make any money, so therefore I don't have any, tax, right? All right, not an issue because they're not a prospect, or if, someone's looking at a $6,000 orthodontia bill, they're answering this question absolutely. If I could show you a way to pay for that orthodontia, which you're going to buy anyway in a more tax-effective manner, would that be of interest to you? Absolutely. Great. How's 10 o'clock on Tuesday for a quick half-an-hour meeting? Won't be a waste of your time. Terrific. It's about executive benefits. It's about covering 100% of CRA eligible expenses. It's all about covering 100% of CRA eligible expenses. No coinsurances, no limits, no deductibles. An executive benefit plan has no coinsurances, no limits, no deductibles, covers 100% of all CRA expenses. Mike and I are the same in many ways. We're both considered families. Mike's got a couple of kids. I've got 2 kids still left that are eligible to be on our benefit plan. But we're at different ends of the spectrum. Mike's kids are very young, and my kids are getting older, and we've got different needs. And we've got very different needs. Mike's not into the braces yet, where I've already gone through the braces, and now I'm into adult orthodontia with my wife having some braces to solve a problem she's having with her jaw. So we've got this benefit plan that covers us for 100% of all of our medical and dental expenses. It's that executive benefit plan. There's no co-insurance, there's no limits or deductibles. The reason why I'm saying we're different is it's important not to have a plan that just restricts certain things and pays for other things. It's important to have a plan that covers everything. And as I like to say, touch it once versus the cost plus. Cost plus often doesn't work. Yes, it works mechanically. It's cumbersome, and everybody knows your business. This way, we can have a benefit plan in place where nobody knows what it is that I'm claiming, and nobody knows what Mike's claiming except the people that are adjudicating it. So touch it once versus cost plus, and I'd love to talk to anybody about cost plus and why this is better. And I can speak for hours on this. But the most important thing is you touch it once. People love it once they have the Kool-Aid. They touch it once. It's paid for at 100%. As long as it's an eligible expense defined by Canada Revenue Agency. That is truly an executive plan. So let's talk about a case study. This is one of my favorites. I love this case. Just absolutely love this case for a whole host of reasons. We've first of all had it for a number of years, but just the way that the case came into play. The research that we found out about this particular company in advance of the meeting happened very quickly. And you'll understand why in a moment, but as I like to say, 6 C-suite executives. There was 500 plus employees in this very well-known Canadian company. If I mentioned it to you, all that are on the call, you'd certainly all know it. And if you didn't, I'd be very surprised. So it's a very well-known company, 500 employees, over 500 employees in the organization. Very well-known, very profitable Canadian company. They've got key managers or C-suite executives in place. But it's interesting because they can't offer a lot of stock options because it's a private company, so they really don't mean much. So what they're doing is paying their people extraordinarily well, but offering other benefits as well. So that's what the organization is. The objective, and I got called in and met with the CEO of the organization and his assistant and the broker. And the objective was very clear. These guys did not want problems, they wanted solutions. They had a particular problem that they wanted a solution to, and they didn't want to talk about problems, they wanted to talk about solutions. It was a great meeting. So we asked a couple of questions in the organization, or pardon me, in the meeting. The meeting was promised to be a half an hour or less. We asked a couple of questions, not too many to respect their times, but so they had to be very poignant and very specific questions. But it was clear that the CEO, the founder of the company, had a problem and he wanted it solved. He wanted the problem solved quickly. He wanted to be also competitive in the marketplace with his C-suite executives. And as importantly as the other two concerns, he wanted it to be confidential. This is what the problem, the CEO had a problem. He wanted it to be solved quickly. He wanted to be competitive with his C-suite executives, and it wanted to be confidential, and he wanted it to be done yesterday. And wanted it to be done the day before yesterday. And it was interesting, this came up sort of after the fact, but the problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude towards the problem. Do you understand? And we were not the first people in to try to solve this problem. We were actually probably about the fourth people in to try to solve this problem. And I think one of the issues why he only gave us 30 minutes is because he was getting, quite frankly, pissed off at how much time he's wasted on this particular problem when he found out it was a pretty simple solution. So the problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude towards the problem. One thing is they wanted the human resource department out of it. One thing that was perfectly clear is they were not part of the C-suite. We didn't want to, or the client, the owner, the CEO didn't want to involve the human resource department. He didn't want to talk about the 500 employees. He wanted to talk about the 6 employees and himself particularly. He didn't want to talk about the 500 plus employees. Right? He didn't want the human resources department involved at all. He didn't want them involved in the conversation. He wanted to keep them out. He just wanted the problem solved. Our approach was very simple. I sort of laid down my pen in the meeting after taking some notes and listening to him for a while. I'm going, I don't understand what the problem is. The approach is simple. The approach is very straightforward. Like it's simple. And he's going, finally, somebody with some ideas. Let's hear it. And it was interesting. I said, we're just going to set up 100% executive class benefits for you and your 6 C-suite executives, or however many there are. I think there's 5 or 6 of them. But we put together a plan for 6 people, 100% reimbursement for their medical and dental expenses. All defined executives remain within the main company plan for all pooled benefits. We're just going to waive the health and dental benefits. We're just going to carve them out of the health and dental benefits. That's how you keep HR out. We're just saying the CFO went down to the HR department and said, remove us. We've got our own executive plan now. Everything's great. You don't need to know about it. Just remove us from the health and dental plan with the main company. And then all benefits, all defined executives join the new benefit plan through the benefits trust, in this case, with 100% reimbursement for all extended healthcare and dental care benefits. Drug card, they got in place, all of those wonderful things. It was put in place that it was just 100% reimbursement of all of their medical and dental expenses. The bills were being sent monthly, to the CFO, and it was dealt with confidentially. All the reports are being sent monthly to the CFO. All of the financial statements are going monthly to the CFO. All communication from this point on was directly with the CFO. Simple as that. This plan was put in place the approach was designed in the meeting. It was simple. It was straightforward. And all the owner said is, this is fantastic. And he said to the CFO to negotiate with us to make sure that the plan is put in place properly and to deal with him directly. The key thing was to be able to deal with the CFO directly. We weren't opening up Pandora's box. We weren't going in and saying, hey, we need to deal with the 500 other employees and redesign your entire plan. We're just saying carve these guys out, put them into this particular plan. The solution that put into place was the custom designed executive benefit plan with 100% extended health care and dental care. Simple as that, 100%. It's tax effective for the executives, most importantly, because they're all highly paid executives. So it's tax effective that they just have a benefit plan that covers all of their expenses. So it's paid through the business as opposed to them paying with after-tax dollars. And most importantly, it's confidential. That's was one of the most critical components of this plan that was in place. It was confidential. So in other words, as I like to say, they got a particular layer of icing on their cake, on their benefit cake. They still had the pooled benefits in the plan, which were fairly substantial because of the size of their company. We just carved out the health and dental and put a layer of icing on their cake that they were very excited with. By the way, some exciting things happened along the way. Is this was put in by a broker who at the time was under 30. She, in this case, was playing in a little bit of a man's world. And I hate to say that, I don't want to sound as crass as I sound, but she was dealing with the staunchy old, very well off business owner who was a little bit older. He was north of 65, and he was very much, an old school guy. So all of a sudden, this young broker who's under 30 years old is coming up with a solution. She was competing, as we found out afterwards, against the large consulting houses and experienced benefit brokers. And the only thing that the experienced benefit brokers and the large consulting houses were saying is, oh yeah, we got to look at the whole group. We got to involve HR. We got to do a complete study and an audit and all this type of stuff. And we said, no, you just need to solve the problem. And we did that in a one meeting sale. It was literally a one meeting sale. There's over 600 today, because we just talked to them about the renewal. There's over $600,000 in premium in the plan today, and the still exciting. The other exciting thing is we haven't gone down to see these guys since we put this in place more than 10 years ago. The CFO, we always ask the CFO if he wants to have a meeting, and the CEO's assistant if they want to have a meeting, and they say, no, we're all good. Still meeting our needs. We're all good. So we got a $600,000 case. It was a one meeting sale, took less than 30 minutes. And this particular broker got along very famously with the CFO and went on to sell the CFO individual products and made a ton of money on that. So that was a great case. So the question is, how do you do this for your clients? How do you do this for your clients? In wrapping things up, because we only have a few minutes left, how do you make the cases sticky? How do you deal with corporate philosophy? And how do you deal with executives? Well, you start off with a blank sheet of paper. You start off with that Calvin and Hobbes comic. You say, let's go exploring. Let's explore into the future. When you're talking to clients, don't walk in there and say, hey, let me do a study and see if I can save you 10%. If I hear that one more time, I'm going to puke in the garbage can. Start off with a blank sheet of paper and say, let's go exploring into the future. Tell me about your business. How is your future going to be bigger than your past? How can we help you be a part of this? How can we talk? Let's talk about your corporate philosophy. Go to thebenefitstrust.com, check out the website, and go to the Advisor Resource Center under the Tools section. And there's 101 future-based questions there. Check them out. Have these come off the top of your tongue, but explore that opportunity with that canvas and talk about the future. Remember, solutions are abundant. These solutions are online, or they're going to be online very soon. Solutions are abundant. Great questions are rare. We can put together a solution that is a customized benefit solution. We've shown you 3 different examples of that with these case studies because our process is very simple. We capture the promise that the employer is making to the employee or the groups of employees. We capture that promise. We buy insurance where we need to buy insurance, for the life insurance, the AD&D, the long-term disability, the stop loss, the critical illness, the out-of-country coverage, the wellness programs, etc. We buy those things. In that second example we showed you, they didn't want group life insurance. The benefit plan doesn't have to have all of these things. It can pick and choose what benefits they want. We can reimburse the claim transactions for the health, the dental, and the short-term disability based on the promise that they want. So in this one promise that we were talking about, the executive benefit plan, they wanted 100% of everything. The other benefit plan, they wanted 100% of everything up to a certain limit in their healthcare spending account, and that was based on their previous year's earnings. In that particular example, they had 70 different healthcare spending account amounts. Easy to take care of as long as we capture the promise. We take care of all the plan operation, including administration, producer compensation. We remit the appropriate taxes, and then we send the client a monthly financial statement. This process allows us to truly customize a benefit solution for a client based on their promise that they're making their employees. Visit thebenefitstrust.com. Check it out. It works. It's worked extraordinarily well for 20 plus years. We're coming up on our 25th anniversary. We're on Twitter, of course, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+. We're all over the place. It's time to go out and sell. We've been together 40 or 55 minutes now. It's time for you to go out and sell. So we want to take this opportunity to say thank you very much for your time. This was part of a 3-part webinar series. The 3rd webinar will be coming up on the next couple of weeks. Make sure you check out the website under webinars in the Advisor Resource Center, and you can see when that is. We encourage you to sign up for it. You will receive a CE credit for participating today. We thank you very much for that, and you will be receiving that in the next couple of weeks. In addition to that, if you want Mike and I to come out and cover any subject that makes sense to you and your organization, if you've got 8 or 10 or more people, we'd be happy to do so, and we can throw some pizza on the table or muffins or whatever makes sense. But it's time to go out and sell. It's about sharing information. It's about sharing knowledge, and it's about sharing wisdom. And if you've gotten a good idea out of this today, that's great. And we want to take this opportunity to say, on behalf of all of us here at the Benefits Trust, we want to say thank you very much for your time today and wish you a productive future. And we look forward to working with you in the future. And if we work with you in the future, if we haven't worked with you in the future, we want to say we would love to talk to you about future-based selling, and we'd love to talk to you about cases that we can help you with. And if we do continue to work with you, we want to thank you for your continued business. So on behalf of Mike and I and all of us here at the Benefits Trust, here's our contact information. We'd love to talk to you. Visit thebenefitstrust.com, and we'll look forward to speaking with you soon. A couple more webinars between now and the end of the year. Oh, I can't believe we're saying that. We're getting close to the end of 2017. 55 minutes of fun talking about benefits. Woohoo! Lots going on here today, folks, and lots going on in the future. So let's jump on the bandwagon and let's ask some great future-based questions and design some customized approaches. Bye for now.